Death of a Dynasty is the sixth and final episode of Walking with Dinosaurs, and is my personal favorite not only of this series, but the entirety of the Walking with trilogy. Not only is it thoroughly engaging and it has my favorite dinosaur, Tyrannosaurus, as the main focus, but it's also quite powerful and has stunning visuals. It takes place 65.5 million years ago at the brink of the KPG mass extinction, and follows a female Tyrannosaurus trying to reproduce in a volcanic environment that is causing a gradual decline in dinosaur populations. They even say,
Life on Earth is choking to death.
the location for this episode is perfect for the grim, foreboding tone, being a desolate volcanic ash field with lush islands of greenery, and the music also captures this quite well. It has a bit of a haunting feel to it in both the night and evening scenes, manufactured by the combination of the chilling music and the ominous evening lighting. The female Tyrannosaurus's first eggs become stillborn due to acidic pollution, ending up as food for mammalian scavengers called Didelphodon. She calls for a new mate, and eventually a male Tyrannosaurus responds to her mating calls. She mates with him multiple times over the next 3 days before driving him off. After several months, the eggs hatch into 3 cute Tyrannosaurus chicks that she cares for. The episode also shows that pterosaurs are on decline too, as we see a lone Quetzalcoatlus on a search for food, almost being drowned by a lurking Deinosuchus, as the narrator foreshadows that pterosaurs will soon surrender the skies to the birds. Meanwhile, a herd of Torosaurus compete for the right to mate by locking horns, one of them breaking one of his horns in a confrontation, and in a really stunning nightscape, lose their young to attacking Dromaeosaurus. We are also introduced to Ankylosaurus and Annetta Titan, the latter having to travel through vast ash fields in search of islands of greenery. One of them is hunted and killed by the main female Tyrannosaurus in an awesome nail-biting scene to feed herself and her brood. Not only does this episode have a lot of great set pieces, but like Giant of the Skies, it also has a really tragic and quite somber ending. The mother Tyrannosaurus ends up getting fatally wounded protecting her young from an Ankylosaurus that wanders into her territory, being hit in the femur by its massive club. We listen to her whimpers as she slowly dies from her injury, while her 4-week-old offspring are left without a mother. They stand next to her corpse, not even knowing that she's dead. Just like the Postosuchus, Liopleurodon, and Ornithocheirus in previous episodes, another giant, mighty, powerful creature has fallen. This show proves time and time again that no matter how successful, incredible, or unstoppable any species may seem, they cannot cheat death. No species lasts forever. And if that wasn't sad enough, what follows is a very tragic extinction scene. It is on par with the death of the Ornithocheirus, as you hear the horrific cries of the 2 Tyrannosaurus chicks while they are blown away and killed by the blast front, and afterwards, a rain of molten rock falls from the darkened sky, a really powerful image. It uses the same heart-wrenching music as the ending of Giant of the Skies, and when it says,
This is the end of the age of the dinosaurs.
it's like a punch in the gut. It's not only downright depressing, but it sends shivers down my spine in a way no other motion picture has. The entire series has shown us how spectacular and amazing these animals were, and now they're gone, extinct, never to be seen again. Some people don't like the extinction scene because of how it doesn't show the comet hitting the Earth, but I've always loved it as it puts you in the perspective of the dinosaurs, which only saw the blast front and got swept away seconds later. Remember, this series is meant to be like a nature documentary, where the crew filmed the dinosaurs in their environment, and a cut to outer space would have ruined the feeling of it being something actual people filmed live. It would have taken me right out of the scene and ruined the immersion. Besides, it's so cliche that I'm actually really glad they went for a unique approach to this scene. I mean, come on, how many times have you seen that stock cliche shot of a comet hitting the Earth from space? This scene is extremely tragic and superbly handled. The episode ends on a slightly happier note as it travels forward to modern-day Africa and explains that dinosaurs didn't actually go completely extinct, since modern birds are dinosaurs. This is another thing I have to praise the episode for. Many people, even today, still think that all dinosaurs are extinct, but in reality they are all among us today. They're just called birds. And the series acknowledging that is extremely refreshing, showing just how ahead of its time this series really was. Overall, this episode is honestly just so compelling. Even though it's the same length as every other episode, whenever I watch it, it feels as if it goes by quicker. It does a great job building suspense for the extinction and making you actually sympathize with the mother Tyrannosaurus, who will struggle to survive and reproduce. It does a great job showing the biodiversity of Hell Creek. Just like Time of the Titans, there are a ton of really exciting and memorable scenes, and the ending will never cease to give me the feels. Despite my love for this episode, it does have a few objective errors. The Tyrannosaurus model needs a more muscular neck and tail to balance its immense jaws. Fossil evidence for female Tyrannosaurus being larger than the males isn't solid anymore, and though this technically isn't an error on the program's part due to this discovery literally having happened just 2 years ago, but Tyrannosaurus skin impressions show that, while it was indeed a completely scaly animal, its scales were actually quite small and the skin would seem smooth from a distance. Titan is no longer its own genus, having been reclassified as a species of Edmontosaurus, Eonectens, but this came after the series. To be honest, this is kind of a shame, as I find Titan to be a much cooler, better sounding name than the dull, boring Edmontosaurus, but science doesn't care about my feelings. Though it does actually have one inaccuracy that was actually inaccurate for the time. They shouldn't have thumbs. Didelphodon wasn't really badger-like, having a Tasmanian devil-like head and an otter-like body. In fact, it was actually an aquatic mammal. Therefore, it probably wouldn't have raid dinosaur nests as shown in the series. However, this is excusable as the animal was only known from teeth at the time the program was made. There are also several anatomical issues with Quetzalcoatlus, as the model is just a reskinned Ornithochirus, when in reality the two animals weren't really all that alike. It doesn't hold up well to what we now know about it, and it barely resembles the real animal at all. It even has teeth. It's probably the worst model in the entire series, though to be fair, this model wasn't actually too bad for the time. The Ankylosaurus was oversized, and the body shape of the real animal is a lot less bulbous, though to be fair, the animal is only known from the head and tail club. Dromaeosaurus was already extinct by 65.5 million years ago, though this can, like the Titan issue, be forgiven for two reasons. First, there were fragmentary dromaeosaur teeth in the Hell Creek Formation that were assigned to the genus, but only recently have been assigned to a new genus, Aquaraptor, in 2013. Second, the program itself doesn't actually identify the animal as Dromaeosaurus, simply referring to it as a dromaeosaur. It was only in Titan material that was identified as Dromaeosaurus. However, it does have real issues. It has the same inaccuracies as a Utahraptor due to being the same model, just recolored. Speaking of the Dromaeosaurs, in the night scene they do something like kinda odd. Like, boy, he was right there. Why'd you let him run away? Deinosuchus was also already extinct by the time the episode takes place. And finally, the Hell Creek Formation doesn't have any evidence of being a volcanic wasteland full of ash fields. Rather, it was actually very lush and wet, mostly being like a swamp. The entire plotline about volcanic activity was based on the Deccan traps in India, but nowadays we don't think that volcanic activity would have spread all the way to Hell Creek. On the other hand, as a whole, I really love the portrayal of Tyrannosaurus in the series. The model still looks good for the most part, and what is especially well done is the color scheme. While I really like all the color schemes in the series, this one has to be my favorite. I really appreciate how they went with a unique coloration rather than just having it be plain brown or gray like pretty much every other Tyrannosaurus design. That black and white color scheme they picked with the red neck just looks so awesome, appealing, and fitting for the animal. It's perfect. It's also fantastic to see Tyrannosaurus, like all other theropods, being depicted as an animal. Not a monster, but just a carnivorous animal. It doesn't just kill all the time, having only one hunt scene with it, and it's a very realistic one. The show actually shows other aspects of the animal's behavior. It's also not invincible or unstoppable as shown by the ending. I really like the unique and interesting mating ritual proposed by the series, and the moment when the mother Tyrannosaurus feeds her young by dropping the meat out of her mouth like modern birds. And that roar is so iconic, easily my favorite for the animal in any media. I honestly call it the best depiction of the animal in any media, at least from what I've seen. I also love the Torosaurus. The model is quite accurate, and it's nice to see a ceratopsin that's less popular get some attention. The bigger frill and horns are quite appealing and make it stand out more than Triceratops, which honestly looks boring in comparison. And no, they are not synonymous with Triceratops. We have found young Torosaurus. The model for Titan still looks quite good too. The animation remains superfluous and exquisite. I'm a big fan of all the color schemes given to the animals as well as the sounds, and the behavioral traits for the animals are spot on. And even if it weren't for all this good stuff, I would still give the episode a 10 out of 10 just for this.
The snake does not like what it can see.
Overall, this episode is excellent and a really well done conclusion to the series. With its great portrayal of Tyrannosaurus, foreboding and sickening feel, heartbreaking ending, and clear identification of birds as dinosaurs, it's a very engaging and poignant end for the series, and another highlight of the Walking With trilogy. Walking with Dinosaurs is an outstanding series I would highly recommend to anyone of any age. It's a great way to kickstart someone's interest in dinosaurs and other prehistoric life, and it can be rewatched many times. I speak from experience. It allows people to view dinosaurs in a new light, being animals as normal as animals living today, and learn a lot about the science of these amazing creatures that once walked this earth millions of years ago. Many other dinosaur documentaries have come out since, but none of them feel even close to as sincere, earnest, gorgeous, and impressive as Walking with Dinosaurs. And if I can point my finger as to why, it's because of them constantly portraying these animals as ferocious monsters, continuously roaring for no reason and always looking for someone to kill, getting into a bunch of improbable fights with tons of gore, taking huge leaps in logic for the sake of sensationalism, and going out of their way to make dinosaurs scary. They also tend to show theropod dinosaurs and other carnivores as unstoppable kaiju that always kill the defenseless herbivores. This documentary portrays dinosaurs as actual animals. They don't go on murderous killing sprees for no reason, and in fact, much like nature today, many hunts are unsuccessful in the program. The carnivores are shown hunting in a realistic manner and shows other aspects of their behavior, and the herbivores are shown to actually be tough and formidable, not just lunch on legs. And of course it delves as much into their biology as the carnivores. Many dinosaur documentaries just show them fighting and killing, when there is so much more to dinosaurs to explore, which this series does. There is also the fact that here they filmed in real locations and inserted the CGI dinosaurs in later. They also use animatronics and puppets for close-up shots, which look extremely realistic and also works in the program's favor. Both make the series look so much more real, like the crew actually went back in time and filmed dinosaurs. In all other dinosaur documentaries, the entire thing is CG, and therefore at times it looks like a video game. Walking with Dinosaurs has a sense of realism and naturalism that most others fail to capture. Not only that, but it also has compelling stories with amazing, memorable music that's on the same tier as John Williams and Hans Zimmer, giving the series a sense of magnificence, and it actually at times can pull at your heartstrings, another thing that most dinosaur documentaries fail at doing. It's spectacular, but also educational, and the producers actually cared about the science of dinosaurs and other Mesozoic animals. If you watch the behind-the-scenes feature, you will see how much research they put into it, the paleontologists that actually consulted with the filmmakers, and how much the filmmakers cared. This wasn't just some sensationalist show that only cared about getting kids to watch it by bastardizing real animals and putting them in monster fights while continuously spewing complete nonsense because paleontologists weren't involved in the production and nobody on the production team actually cared about accurately depicting these incredible animals. This was a genuine production, the most genuine of any dinosaur documentary ever. If you do your research, you'll realize that even the most questionable decisions that Walking with Dinosaurs made had some sort of explanation. It was a huge critical success and was even nominated for and won numerous awards, such as Outstanding Innovation from British Academy Television Awards 2000, Best Original Television Music from the 2000 British Academy Television Craft Awards, and multiple from the 52nd Primetime Emmy Awards. It won Outstanding Animated Program, Outstanding Special Visual Effects, and Outstanding Sound Editing, and was nominated for Outstanding Music Composition, Outstanding Sound Mixing, and Outstanding Programming. And it deserved all of them. If you ask me, BBC succeeded in their goal. This documentary is, in my opinion, the best of the entire Walking With trilogy and all other dinosaur documentaries. It's so fantastically crafted, it makes you forget its scientific errors, and no matter its mistakes, it always succeeds in portraying these extinct organisms as real animals. It's full of wonder, excitement, grandeur, and emotion, with groundbreaking visual effects, beautiful cinematography, incredible stories, and a brilliant musical score, effectively immersing you into the Mesozoic era. It's everything you could want in a dinosaur documentary, and in terms of how well made of a program it is, it's a masterpiece. It will take something mind-blowing to ever top it.